Hello everybody, my name is Khaled Siddiqui, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to replace the LCD screen, or I shall say the LCD block of the ClearCom V-Series panel. So the ClearCom V-Series panel, which is a very expensive equipment. This is what they use in television stations and major production places. So let's get started. Okay, this is the most expensive equipment I've been working on. I've been working on all kinds of different electronics. This unit cost, it depending on the number of channels, it could cost anywhere from $5,000 to $12,000. So that's why it requires a lot of caution, and you have to be statically discharged in a good, safe work environment, and take all the precautions necessary. All right, so let's get started. So this unit has one dark screen right here. It's dark. I'm going to show you how that looks like. And if you pay attention, let me turn the power off first. Okay, so I turned it on. Let me go to the center camera. Watch this one. It doesn't light up. Just watch. Let me turn on the power. It goes through a boot cycle. You see every one lit up except for that one. And this is, by the way, a protective film which you can remove, but you see all the rest is lit up. That one is not. So let's replace the puppy. All right, okay. The first thing we need to do is we remove the protective plastic. By the way, this is brand new. This is the plastic that comes from from the factory, and still had this issue. So this is something that if ClearCom, HME, if you're watching this video, you guys need to do more, much better quality control, because I have 3 brand new panels that I took out of the box, and one of the LEDs were dark, completely dark. Okay, so first we have to open these 4 screws. Keep the screws safe so you can get to them. Okay. And now that I took these off, you have to, it's very unsafe to let this lean on these buttons. So what you're going to need to do is hold one side up and open these 2 screws. These are different screws, so remember not to mix them up. The screws on the back, on the sides, which I'm about to remove, are different. Okay, now we're going to open the 2 side screws. This one and that one on the opposite side. Okay, and we have the same exact one in the opposite side. That's this one. Now this whole panel comes out. This whole thing comes out, as you can see. Let me go to the top camera. There, this whole thing came out. Okay, now these are the blocks that we need to replace. See, there are 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. In order to get to these, to replace them, we need to release this panel from these screws, which I'm going to show you. And by the way, remember I said this is brand new? Watch, look what HME or ClearCom forgot. See this adhesive? This adhesive was supposed to be removed. Let me show you. Okay, so this adhesive was supposed to be removed to provide, let's see, why is this thing not removing? I don't know this, because see, there is one sticky. Why is this not being removed? Let me see, because this, there you go. Okay, there it is. See, this is sticky. This adhesive needed to be removed, so this would have rested on top of this right here, on top of this, because this speaker is only resting on sticky pads. There's a sticky pad at the bottom and a sticky pad at the top. They only put the bottom one, they didn't put the top one, so the speaker could vibrate and fall. So that's another thing that they forgot from factory. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, once I have removed all those, I'm going to remove these two screws, this and that, on both sides. You see that? This, these two, and these two. Okay, I need to remove those. Let's go to the left camera again. Okay, those screws are flat and different. Same thing with the other side. I need to remove these two screws. Okay. Are we out of the woods yet? No, we're not. We still have more screws to remove at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, now we are, relatively speaking, out of the woods. Finally, we are out of the woods. Now this should come off. Let's see where it's holding. Okay, we have one more screw. One more screw. We are not out of the woods, folks. We have one more screw which we need to have access to. Hold on a second. We have to first remove this. This is the AC adapter holder. The AC adapter holder is coming off. Now right here, if we peel this corner, let me go to the top camera. If we peel this corner, we have a hole, and that hole is to open the screw that's holding this guy. But that will open the screw that's holding this guy. But I don't want to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove these knobs. These two knobs. And when you remove these two knobs, this panel comes off easily. There you go. The panel has been separated. Okay, now we have two connections that goes to the main board. One is this guy. Let's see. Oh, the tape is holding it. Remove the tape. There was a tape. Okay, one is this guy. And the other one is this guy. So remove the tape there's a round tape like this, and unplug it. Oh wait, no, that wasn't it. It's this one. It's the top one. Okay. So that these four are completely now separated, and this one I'm gonna separate too. This is a different plug, by the way. These are one kind. These two are one kind. All of these are the same type of plug. This is a different type of plug, so you can reverse them. So this goes here, this goes here. That's it. This is our panel block. So if there is a problem with any four of these, let's see how many is there? 6. If any 6 of these are bad, you have to change this block. If any 6 is bad here, you have to change this block, or that block. So you have 4 blocks inside it. And if you had a 12 channel, it would have 2 blocks. So these blocks are what we are going to replace. This is nothing but the power supply and speaker. This bottom part is just, this is the power supply and interface, data interface, network interface, and speaker. These are the actual channel switchers. Okay. Now we will put this aside and remove the defective block. Okay. So we are removing which block? I had a cross on it. There. This is the dark one. See, I wrote there, dark. So this is the block that I need to replace. I'm going to remove this cable. Again, there's a little tape. You have to remove the tape. Now that you remove that cable, remember that this goes here. So it doesn't hurt to mark it. So this side goes there. This side goes there, just to mark it so we know. This is completely disconnected from the circuit, completely. You see these two brass screws. Those brass screws you open. They're long like this. When you open them, they're long, here and here. You put those away, and let's see what else is holding this. 1, 2, 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. We have to remove those. Okay, so there is the controller. Now, this doesn't have the LED. The LED is in this board, which we are going to replace. So this whole block does not necessarily have to be replaced. These studs, let me go to the top camera again. These 3 studs shall not be removed. They should be tight. Just lift this gently and lift it with parallel force. There you go. This is what we need to replace. So, see those 6 LEDs? Those are the ones, one of which is dark. Now, you could do like board level, PC board level repair and just replace that one. But that requires a lot of soldering knowledge and a lot of work, basically. So it's easier to change the whole block. I will be changing the whole block. Okay. Now, these switches are not bad. All of these switches are good. Just this part is bad, so this is what needs to be replaced. If the switches were bad too, then I would have to replace this whole thing. And if I were to replace the whole thing, including the switches, in that case, I only needed to remove the 2 brass screws and not the 3 little screws, because this is as a whole unit, this block. And also pay attention, that only these two brass screws which goes here, these two brass screws that go here and there, only these are holding it close to the front panel. Not these screws. These three screws are just holding this together with this. Okay. So how do we disassemble or disengage this cable in order to separate this from that? This is something that I need to zoom the camera in and show you, because it's a little too, how should I say, critical, or not difficult, but it's a little too important to ignore. Let's put it this way. So you see that little brown bar? That brown bar slides this way towards me, towards the blue film. It slides this way to release the cable. Watch. You have to push it parallel, and don't over push it because you'll break it. So if you notice, let me grab a needle. There's a gap here. You see that gap? That gap is all you need to pull the cable. And now I can easily pull the cable. There, the cable is out. This is the defective piece that needs to be replaced. Okay, now let's get a replacement of this defective piece. Okay, now remember that this entire block is not defective. All these were working, just one screen is bad. So you could just replace the one screen if you cannot find the whole block. So since I ordered just the one screen, I'm not going to be replacing the whole block. If you were to replace the whole block, so you know, this is how you do it, and you put the new block and reassemble it. Since I'm just replacing this screen, this is how you replace a single screen. So what you do is, you see that little plastic tab, you push that a little bit away and open the screen upwards. Watch. Like that. The screen opens upward like that. You see that? This was holding it. This was like a clip like that was holding it. Now we have another brown little thing here, I should say connector, that you need to release. Like that, we release it, and voila. This is our screen which doesn't light up. And here we have it separated, that needs to be replaced. So let me replace it, get a new one. Okay, so this is the replacement screen. By the way, I just want to mention something, that the back of the screen has sticky, like see how it's sticky? And the stickiness is what's holding it so tight, not just that little tab. The little tab is in addition to the stickiness. And the hardest part is to release the stickiness. You can't use metallic objects, because if you use metallic objects, like, let me grab a X-Acto knife like this. If you try to pry it open with this, the screen will crack and break. So you can't do that. You have no choice but using your fingernails. That's why my nails are long. I intentionally kept them long so that I could do this job. So now I'm going to put this back in. Remember, this goes under this thing, under this brown tab, and then locks in. So it's very hard to show it on camera when I'm doing this. Still not in yet. Let me lift another screen so you could see how much has to go in. See this, the brown part almost all goes in. So this is not even in yet. There, now it's in. See? It's all the way in. And once I press the tab in, now I have to close this back in. I have to close this back in like this. I have to do like this. But I have to do it with my finger, not getting support from the plastic. So there. So now it's in. So The replacement screen is here. This one is also dim. I might need to replace this one too, but you know, I don't know if I'll do that right now. So let's put it back together. Okay, so I also replaced this one, but the unit was programmed blue. So this will be blue color, but who cares? I mean, as long as I can see it, it can be blue or orange. I could reset the colors later. Now I'm going to put this back together. First, I'm gonna need the screws that go here. So that's what I'm gonna put together first. They're longer screws. Let's bring the automatic screwdriver because this is too many screws. Okay, another one. Another one. Three screws are in. Make sure these are clean and no fingerprints, because if you don't clean them, you will have fingerprints, and that's not going to look good. So I'm going to clean these. And put it back in. Zoom out. The wrong way. This is the right way. You have to look at these studs and these holes. That's how you can tell if it's the right way or the wrong way. So if you're changing the whole block, you only need to open these two screws, the brass ones. But the whole block is very hard to get and very, very expensive. If you just change one LCD screen like this, it's easier to get. Alright, so this one was dark, remember? Now it's the moment of truth. We will plug this in. Plug all of these in. That goes there, that goes there. And time to bring the power supply unit. Let's zoom out even more. This goes here. It's like crisscross. This goes here, and this one goes here. Okay, take a note of the cables. This cable from here goes here, from here goes here, from here goes there, this to that, this to that. And this goes here. So everything seems to be in place. And what do we do next? We close these two screws. These two. Now one second, you could have done this without removing this without having to remove this on the top upper section, because it comes out. But if for the bottom section, you have to remove this because everything else is blocking the way of it to come out. There are 4 of them. See, these 2 are the top, these 2 are the bottom section. So for the top section, you just open the 2 brass, this thing comes off without having to open these screws and remove the panel. But you can't do it from the bottom ones. If the bottom ones are dark, You have no choice but to remove it. But I did it. I removed the panel so that so you could learn any scenario. The hardest scenario from doing board level repair as removing the LCD itself, or removing the whole block. Okay, so those screws are out. Before I put the bottom screws, so remember we have a lot of bottom screws and all that, and we even have to put these knobs. Before I do all that, I'm gonna fire it up and make sure everything works, that I didn't make it worse, you know. Nowadays you never know. You fix something, you make it worse than it was. Okay, so there you go. That's the one that was dark. Let me turn off the light here so you could see. This one was dark with nothing on it. Let's see. And there is our writing on it. And this one I put a different type of screen, which was a blue screen. So I guess it was incompatible. But yeah, this one I put a different screen. It was a blue color screen. Because it was dark, I said, well, what the heck, I might as well replace it. But it wasn't a good idea. Let me turn it off and turn it back on. See, this one comes blue. See, it's a different color. So that chip on that screen doesn't talk with this, because each one of these little screens have a chip, a little processor. Let me show you. Let me show you the processor. Where did I put the broken screen? There. So this is the broken screen. Right here there's a little chip, there's a little microchip, and that little microchip speaks with the board, and it has to be the same one. I gave a try to a blue one, and it wasn't a right match. And there's nothing on it. See, it's completely dark when it should have had writings in blue. So there it is. This is the dark one. See, the one that was dark. And now we have light. Alright, so now let's put it back together. So I'm gonna have to open this again to remove the blue one and put the correct one, because I only ordered one screen. But what I'm gonna do is show you how to put it back together. So we have to put back 4 screws. Remember, those are this kind of screws, very small. Let me turn on the light so you can see better. Okay, so I have all of these in, and now I can put back the knobs. Knobs only go in one way. See, there's one side is cut, and it only goes in one way. Oops. Alright, knobs are in. And now I'll put the cover. Okay, so let's get the top cover. This is the top cover. We make sure we didn't forget anything. All the screws are in. This is plugged in. Everything looks good. We put the top cover now. You slide in the top cover. Just like that. And you have 1 screw here, 2 screws here, 1 here, and 4 here. So let's put the 4 first. Don't over tight the screws. Twist them loosely, because if you tie these all the way, what happens is the sides will not match. The holes will be off. So basically what you do is you partially close it, not totally. so that the cover is loose and it has a few millimeters of play, so that you can adjust, to do like fine adjustments, so all of these holes would match. Okay, so let me switch to the right camera so you can see what I'm doing. Switch back to the left camera so you could see what I'm doing here. And that's it. All the screws are in. Everything. These. The top. Oh, the top. We need to tie him now. Remember we didn't tie him? Nice and neat. Everything is flush. And voila. We replaced a dark LCD screen. And this is all you need. This is all you need to replace. Let me go to the zoom. There. This is what you need in order to replace it. That's the back. Now on the back there is some kind of a gluey pad. If you didn't have the gluey pad, then the back would look like this. I took a picture of it without the pad. That's how the back would look like. That's the part number. But you know. Okay, so this was the whole thing took me half an hour. But if you're a beginner, expect it to take you, an hour or so. Alright, thank you for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe.